people don't want to be in a one-down position and will compensate for it in ways that are not socially useful. Helping children and others to have self-discipline, doing the right thing when no one is watching, forcing, or bribing. No one is worth more or less than anyone else. This is doing to, this is doing for, this is doing together with. And this is the only way we can connect. People thrive in relationships of mutual respect. So the horizontal relationship.
Today's guest, I'm absolutely thrilled to have her here, is a licensed clinical social worker. She's a certified positive discipline lead trainer, a therapist, a trainer, a consultant, and a coach, and has helped families and schools to create more cooperation and mutual respect in relationships for over 30 years, and presents frequently at Adlerian psychology conferences. I'm just learning today that my guest is also a member of the PDA, of the board of the Positive Discipline Association, a co-author together with Jane Nelson, Mary Nelson Tamborski, and Aisha Pope of Positive Discipline Tools for Children, or Kids, like you say in the US. I still need to get my hands on that. And has a wide experience of other certifications, such as empowering people in the workplace and keeping the joy in relationships, early childhood education. And yes, so I am so delighted that you're able to join us. Lois Ingber is our guest today. And if you could add to my introduction anything that I've forgotten that the viewer who's watching this today needs to know about you, for example, where you're based or where you're from, and if you have children, and then I'll share the topic for today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Annette, and thank you for inviting me to have a conversation with you that hopefully others will benefit from. Yes, so I live in the United States, in California, near San Diego, a town called Carlsbad. My husband and I have one daughter who just last weekend graduated from college.
Congratulations.
So yes, thank you. We when we're parents, we have a picture in our mind of the milestones we want our children to reach along the way, you know, learning how to use the toilet and learning how to read and learning how to drive a car. Graduating high school. And so we just feel very fulfilled that we have been able to support her to reach this milestone of graduating college. She wants to go to grad school, but that's kind of an add-on.
Okay.
So we never stop being parents, and that I'm sure you know. Just this weekend, she asked for some advice about applying for a job and how, you know, having us review her letter and all that kind of stuff. So it continues on, and we feel very grateful that we've been able to create the kind of relationship and communication where, you know, we can have conversations like that. And that's something that is cumulative through the interactions and experiences we have. Anyway, so we're very proud parents because of this. And yeah, I don't know. Was there another question in there that I missed?
No, that was just Thanks for reminding all of us that this journey it's a bond for life, really, isn't it? We
It
sometimes think
absolutely is.
until they're 18, but my goodness, that's much bigger life decisions that your daughter is now making, right? Rather than would you like the blue cup or the green cup? Right?
Well, and it's all still also asking,
That's
what are
yeah.
your thoughts about? Or tell us what you're thinking,
Mhm.
those kinds of things. And um, I, when I'm teaching parenting classes and also for teachers, one of my topics, and I have an activity that I created called Doing Ourselves Out of a Job,
I'm not aware of this one.
because that is our job. Our job is to do ourselves out of a job. So they develop those life skills and characteristics from our two lists,
Yes.
remember? Of being empathic, of having resiliency, cooperative, respectful, all those things on our list. Um, that's our compass. For me, that's the compass, is how are we doing in helping our children develop those life skills and characteristics. And when they have them, we've kind of done ourselves out of a job.
Lovely way of
Which,
putting it.
yeah, and we're never done, but helping them, equipping them with those skills and characteristics so that they can function independently, interdependently.
Interdependently. Love that.
Hmm.
Sounds very Dan Siegel.
It is. Are you familiar with his new book, Intra-Connected?
Not yet. I attended one of his 2-day workshops here in Cork a few years ago,
Oh,
and
good for you.
he already mentioned it then, and the
Hmm.
concept of we, which is me and we, and that it becomes we. So I absolutely love that. Yeah. Yeah.
So we can be independent and we can be interdependent and we can be, does this make sense? Intra-dependent? But intra-connected is the title of his book. Very, very helpful for a perspective on, and his work aligns so well with positive discipline because he brings the science into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So Dan Siegel has the science, and what I love about positive discipline so much is that it's experiential work, you know? So I'm not really much of I need to I learned something through doing it and experiencing it, and how I have met you, just for the viewer of my YouTube channel. To know, I last year attended the classroom education training, and there's an activity which you created, and it explains to parents the Adlerian concept of being in a vertical relationship, which is the top down. Everybody's familiar with the top down. And versus the horizontal relationships, which is mutual respect. And you'll be able to explain this in more detail in a moment. And in our organization, Positive Discipline Association, which we're both a member of, this is, as far as I know, in the teaching parenting manual. And in this classroom training, facilitated by Dodi and Eva, I'm going to link a link here. I interviewed them on my channel not so long ago, which was very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And that Eva had just shared your activity in the classroom training, which was so to the point and so fitting. And she just off the cuff presented that. And I had such an epiphany. At the time, I didn't know who you were or that you had even created it. And I, after this activity, realized that nobody is too small to make a difference, that every teacher counts, every parent counts. And then I went on a mission. It took me 6 months to get my courage together to facilitate it. It's quite a bit of a complex activity So in over the springtime just gone, I facilitated 3 different times in front of 3 different groups, and one of them was where you joined. Thank you so much for joining. And then the feedback from you was just, it just brought me so much deeper into this, the theory behind it and what was really meant. So what you had shared with me then as well is that your creation that explains it so much more, which you call, Lois, the dignity double bind. And I was wondering if you would be willing to share this with the parents, because it's so profound, and we'll speak about it, why I find that so helpful for parents to learn.
Thank you. And again, I appreciate the opportunity to share and do this project with you. I think I want to just build on what you just referred to, Annette, in the activity called From Laddership to Leadership. I guess I shouldn't cover my face there. Which is about vertical relationships, superior, inferior, control, controlled, and that people no longer want to live in this kind of a hierarchical structure. And we have seen so many social movements, other kinds of efforts. So to change the relationships, so there is equal dignity and respect. And our kids let us know that they don't want to be in this kind of relationship. And how do they let us know that they don't want to be in this kind?
Rebel and resist our demands as parents. Yeah.
All the things on the challenges list,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's how they let us know. They don't want to live like this. They want to live like this. And it's a reflection of basic Adlerian theory, that people don't want to be in a one-down position, and will compensate for it in ways that are not socially useful. If they are discouraged, if they're encouraged, they will work against it in ways that are socially useful. So I'll share when I'm teaching positive discipline in my intro, I explain that positive discipline is about helping children and others to have self-discipline.
Okay.
And by self-discipline, I mean doing the right thing when no one is watching, forcing, or bribing, and in the face of opposition.
Wow.
So no one has to stand over me. No one has to threaten me. No one has to bribe me or try to get me to do something. I do the right thing because I know in my head and my heart it's the right thing to do. It's intrinsic.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. All parents want that for their children, right?
Yes. Yes. And all of our positive discipline tools help invite that intrinsic motivation to do the right thing when no one is watching, forcing, or bribing, and in the face of opposition. That would be in the social interest, socially useful. So neuroscience has helped us understand that our as we're social beings, and that our brains are not just up here. We have a heart brain and a gut brain. It's the nervous system, but our brains are social organs wired for connection. So if we're going to invite that intrinsic self-discipline, we have to be aware of the child's internal state, connect with that internal state, and we do that through our own internal state. So we're talking about relationship, we're talking about social emotional skills. And as parents and teachers, hopefully we have the skills to be able to model them as well as teach them. So I like to use this analogy. I don't know if it's relevant in Europe, this expression, but it's, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Have you heard that one?
Yes, yes.
Yes. However, that's not the end of the story. It is within our power to make the horse thirsty so that it's more likely it will drink. So we have tools and use our relationship in such a way that we make our kids thirsty to learn those life skills and characteristics.
And also without force, right? We're not forcing the horse to be thirsty. It's
right.
Yeah.
Yes. And again, tying this to Adlerian theory, as social beings, we all seek a sense of belonging and significance. And belonging is feeling connected, respected, unconditionally loved, to have the belief I count, I matter. And significance is feeling capable and responsible, accountable, having the belief I can help, I can contribute. So we can give our kids the belonging, we can tell them we love them, we can spend time with them, but we can't give them a sense of significance. They have to develop that on their own through opportunities we give them to develop their capability, to develop their sense of mastery.
Yeah.
That's where self-esteem comes from. Nobody can give you self-esteem. You, that's inside. That's something you evaluate for yourself. So, and then just to tie with one of our concepts from Dreikers and Adler of being kind and firm at the same time. Because kindness respects the dignity of the other, the child or whoever, and firmness respects our own dignity and the needs of the situation, the reality of the situation. And we need both.
We do. Absolutely. I've never heard it put in that way before, the way you just explained it. Thank you so much. Makes so much sense. And
You're
also
welcome.
half answers one of my questions, which I will ask you later on, of why that is so hard. So we can love our children and the belonging part, you know, but for the significance, the other part, it requires something different. And you're answering some of the questions already, which parents always answer when they come to a parenting course. Why is this so hard? And we'll explore this, a little bit further in a moment.
Yes. Well, and just my own observations in that, maybe you've noticed this too, and my colleagues and I didn't tell you where I work. I'll tell you that in a minute.
Yes,
Because I work in a school setting. That as a society, I think we have in an effort not to be punitive and punishing, which comes across as mean. We've moved more towards the permissive and rewards, incentivizing so that everybody's happy. And we've because many parents want their kids to be happy. We all want our kids to be happy. And happiness is not just from belonging, it's also from significance. And so again, because that has to do with self-esteem. So I think we have moved away from needing our children, giving them responsibilities. And we all kind of, many of us in the world have it pretty easy.
Yes.
It has developed or it invited us to have a sense of entitlement. That is not significance. And quick gratification. I want this and I want it now. So anyway, as a society, we've kind of moved, at least here, a lot. Maybe in other areas of the world, we've kind of lost how to help our kids feel significance. And it's unfortunate. It's something I think we need to pay attention to and move in the direction of. It's easy for kids to check out because they're using this. Thank you for letting me share and build on some of the things that you laid out here. So going back to, I didn't say what I'm doing these days. So I have a master's degree in social work, and in California became a licensed clinical social worker, which is a kind of therapist. And so I learned about Adlerian psychology from my counseling supervisor, Steve Maybell, and we took training in it from Bob Powers and Jane Griffith initially, and started going to NASAP and ICASI and just learning about being a clinician, being a therapist, and worked in social services, private practice. I worked in our children's hospital here in San Diego doing school-based counseling. And so I currently, for going into my 8th year now, work in a charter school, and it's actually the one my daughter attended. And so I was a parent before working there, and offered my services as a parent with my positive discipline, and started teaching parenting classes for the school and consulting regarding kids who come up on the radar for, behavior concerns. And so I now work in our charter school, which is independent learning. And we also have a Montessori charter. So we have 8 centers. So I'm pretty busy. We're actually a positive discipline lab school, element education. So so I support our school implementing positive discipline school-wide. So it's a dream job. I love it. It's all positive discipline all the time. And doing parenting classes and parent coaching and classroom observations and staff trainings and so forth. So I'm in my element, which is our philosophy for our students as well.
And I just want to throw in, there are a lot of acronyms for you, the viewer who is watching my channel today for the first time. When we say Adlerian psychology or anything Adlerian based, we're always referring back to Alfred Adler, who's one of the founding fathers of modern psychology. And what you have mentioned, NASAP and ICASI, they would all be, I don't know if NASAP is a summer school for anybody who's interested living in the Northern Hemisphere in the US.
Well, that
in Canada?
it's different.
Is it
ICASI is the summer school
Cassie for summer
that
school?
Dreikers founded
Right.
because he wanted to. So Adler wanted people to learn his psychology so that it would benefit their lives. So he, in Vienna, started child guidance clinics. So teaching parents, teaching teachers these principles and tools, just like we do today, carried on through positive discipline. And Dreikers became involved with that. And so his mission was for people to benefit from his ideas. He didn't want to keep this model just in the closed system of therapists.
Yeah.
He wanted everyone to benefit. So thank you for sharing that, because Dreikers founded ICASI to take these principles and tools to areas in the world that would not readily have access to them. So that's why he chose the cities, and the tradition is carried on today, where people might not have been exposed to Adlerian ideas. So NASAP is the North American Society of Adlerian Psychology. It's an organization to promote Adlerian ideas, Adlerian practice, in all areas, for clinicians for sure, but also we have an education track, a parenting track, and other tracks. So it's based in the US and Canada. Excuse me, there's other organizations. I think in Europe there's the individual psychology. You probably know more about that, but sorry, I'm blanking on what the acronym stands for. But yeah, so that's more here. It's not a summer school, again, just to distinguish that from ICASI.
Okay.
Yeah, so and I'm just thinking of this, Annette, so I just want to mention it to
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
There is a wonderful website
Mhm.
that Jay Coker, one of the Adlerians here in the US, started. It's called Adlerpedia,
Oh,
A
yes. I've come across that. I'll link it
ADLER.
below.
Yes, I don't know if you can put
Yeah,
it
I
on
can put
your
all those
channel.
links in the description box and all these acronyms. I'm
Yeah,
going
great,
to share
great.
them.
So
Adlerpedia.
Adlerpedia,
Yeah.
ADLERPEDIA.org. And it is a wealth of resources, information, videos, conference presentations. Anybody who has been involved in Adlerian psychology, some of the original people who studied with Dreikers, and there's even videos of Dreikers doing family counseling demonstrations. It's wonderful. So I just wanted to put that out there.
I'm going to link this below. And in our little pre-chat, you've also shared that you did have the privilege to attend workshops of Alfred Adler's children, Ali Adler and Kurt Adler as well. So
Mhm.
that's all so exciting.
That does date me a little bit, but in the 1980s is when
Yeah,
I was first exposed to Adlerian psychology,
yeah,
and I started going to NASAP. So
yeah.
yeah, that was very special to be able to meet them, listen to them, learn from them.
Mm.
Okay, well, so we are going to talk about the dignity double bind. So this is something I share. I just want to mention to those watching, when I do a workshop,
Mhm.
a positive discipline workshop or a class, parenting class, um, I always include at the very beginning from laddership to leadership, because it lays out the basic principles of what kind of relationships we are in. Are they vertical? Are they horizontal? And that people thrive in relationships of mutual respect. So the horizontal relationship. I follow it. I actually then do the activity asking versus telling, which is about curiosity questions. So we have some experiential. Then I do the dignity double bind. So I want to share with you what this is. It's not really an activity. It's just more of a kind of a sharing to build on this principle. So what is a double bind? It is a situation where you have maybe two choices or more, and none of them is helpful. There's an expression between a rock and a hard place. Okay.
I want to throw in something really funny. This is so aligned. My son has this hanging in his bedroom. I'm going to get a better picture to put here. So last month when I met you, this I thought it was an American expression, but this is here a calendar from Europe, and you've got these dogs, and they have their paws here between two rocks, and being caught between a rock and a hard place. I couldn't believe the synchronicity. So I just wanted to share this, and it really helped me get to know that concept better, because I had never heard it before. Being
That
caught
is a
between a rock
wonderful visual
and a hard place. So that was
Thank you.
really good.
Yeah, thank you. That's great. Yeah, so thinking about I've got this choice. That's not such a great choice. And I've got this choice. Oh, that's even worse. Okay. So it's not seeing good options. All right. For solutions. So the dignity double bind has to do with, where do I find my dignity? Because everyone needs to have a sense of their dignity. So here's the foundation. To be human means to have dignity and worth. Do you agree?
Yes, I do.
Okay, yeah. We value human life. It doesn't matter who we are, where we live, how old we are, when we live. We all agree we value human life. And so in that regard, no one is worth more or less than anyone else when it comes to dignity and worth. We have myriad differences in lots of other ways, okay? Knowledge, experience, education. But when it comes to being human, we all share this. We are all equal in this regard. So Adler recognized this when he said, the ironclad logic of social living is equality. So this is expanding or explaining more about that. And respect for dignity never ends. When we die, we pay our respects. This is found in all societies. So it's vital to our very existence. And people are willing to die for their dignity, to live this way. And we see it in many ways around the world. Okay. So here's how the dynamic works. And I'll just use the parenting as an example, because I know this is primarily for parenting. And it's the same in all relationships. Okay. So let's say the parent says, here's parent, here's child, go do your homework. Okay. Now the child has to think, okay, if I go do my homework, because mom is telling me, I agree for her to be my boss, to be in control, to be superior to me. I give up my dignity and self-respect. Not such a great choice.
No.
If I keep my dignity and self-respect, not do my homework because she's telling me, I still have a problem. because she's going to be mad at me. Teacher might be mad at me, and I might agree I should do my homework, but not at this cost. So, also, not a great choice. Okay, so given the choice of, of keeping my dignity or giving it up, what do you choose?
Keeping the dignity, always.
Every time, because that's what it means to be human. And then we blame the child for not being cooperative.
Yeah.
Can you cooperate from here?
No, you cannot.
No, this is compliance. This is obedience, but it's not cooperation. Cooperation is intrinsic and it can only come from here.
It's really good.
And children who have experienced insecure attachment and trauma, they're not just here, they're, down here, right? So how do we relate this to our work? Many people take a positive discipline class or a workshop, and they go home and they try something like curiosity questions, let's say, and they come back or not, and they say, that positive discipline, it doesn't work. It's not that positive discipline doesn't work. Either the tool was used from here by mistake, or it was used from here, only our kids don't have confidence that their dignity will be respected.
Wow.
Because they're so used to being in the dignity double bind. They don't trust us. And they will test us by escalating the behavior or not moving here. So if that's the case, what do you do?
Well, question, come back to you.
What do you think? They're hungry.
You keep,
they want to be treated here.
Yeah.
Yes.
You keep persisting with doing these new tools and coming from love instead of fear and not falling into old ways if you can, right?
Absolutely. Stay the course because they want to be treated with equal dignity and respect. They're just not used to it. And parents are not used to it. It's a whole paradigm shift. And that is the challenge of we experience as parents, teachers, as leaders to children. And I want to make a point about this. If you see testing behavior, it's actually a positive sign.
I love that.
Because they're noticing something's changing here.
Okay.
Right? So hopefully you can draw encouragement from that to stay the course. Okay. And we can even be transparent and be accountable and explicit and say, you know what, son, I think I've made a mistake. And I've been treating you, as if you're here. And I don't want you to feel like you're a loser. I want us to have win-win. I want you to feel because I love you. And we always have to make sure the message of love gets through. Oh, excuse me. I've had a whole way I've been parenting that I realize now maybe hasn't been as helpful for you or us as a family or whatever. Plug in. And I want you to feel respected. And so I'm working on that. And I hope you'll let me know if I slip and make a mistake. So, I mean, we can take responsibility. We don't have to just use these tools blindly or without including our kids in the process is the point. And that we not use when they're testing us, that we not use their continued discouraged behavior as a justification for not continuing to practice mutual respect.
That's really good. That's good. So stay consistent. Keep at it. Yes.
And it's hard. And we can help each other, which is what you are doing by sharing this. And we can encourage each other and support each other in this. We do this in positive discipline all the time. So that's the dignity double bind. I wonder if you have any questions or comments about that.
Oh, there's so much coming up for me on my end. So the when you say about that paradigm shift, and that it's a good thing, that sounds so encouraging for me as a parent, because I am going through this practical thing. As a parent, we always have a new challenge or a new problem that the solution is out there already, So we have this challenge right now where we go swimming every week, and my son, who is nearly 11, he's very capable of packing that bag and then taking afterwards the swimming the wet stuff out. Actually have a bag here, that may or may not still have some wet clothes in them from the last time we went swimming, and it's this. When I heard you share this the first time, I felt so much empathy for my son, and I saw you explain this, and this was so topical at the time. I was able to go, well, if it is down to my dignity, then of course I'm not going to be the obedient son and do what she says, and what I love about this is that you're expressing it in maybe a newer way, because I love Rudolf Dreikurs' book, Children the Challenge, so much. And he explains it. And what he shares, what you now named the dignity double bind, he shares it as that the child loses a sense of personal value. I don't know if you remember this from the book. And I didn't really know what that meant, Lois, the personal value. So now with your visuals, and I'd love to know if you came up with that or if you saw that somewhere, that makes so much sense. And then if you could maybe also share what happens if we then reward it. So, or if we do the conditional love, I could say to my son, well, look, you're not getting your screen time unless you hang up your wet clothes, So what happens if we started bribing or rewarding or putting conditional things on? What shifts with that dignity double bind then?
Right. So this is doing to. This is doing for, where we put ourselves in a one down position. This is doing together with. And this is the only way we can connect.
Okay, that makes
because
sense.
It's always about connection. It's always about the relationship. It's always about how do I feel in relationship and interaction with this other person? Do I feel here? I'm not going to cooperate. Do I feel here? Oh, I can get what I want. Or I can feel here. And this is our goal, to have mutual respect. So so traditional discipline is punishments and rewards, right? Punishment, rewards. And so to do together with involves making agreements together, working out, focusing on solutions.
Yes.
Together, right? Yeah. So having a family meeting, following the steps of the family meeting, to talk about concerns, challenges, and of course we want to invite the kids to list their concerns first. So it creates buy-in, it empowers them. and then following those steps to brainstorm solutions and then vet them if they're reasonable, related, respectful, and helpful. Cross off the ones that aren't, even if it's just one. And what you're left with are solutions. And then reaching a consensus, what to try. Take that action step. And then at the next family meeting, come back and say, okay, so how did that work? You know, you decided to not wait a whole day to take your wet things out. You're going to do it within a half an hour from coming home or something like that. How'd that go? And if it worked, great. And if it didn't, well, let's think about what happened and what we could do differently from there. So it's always about doing together with. And that is, excuse me, discipline that teaches, which is one of the 5 criteria for discipline that teaches. So I hope that answered your question. I have some things I could add about rewards, but let me just check in with you and
and
see
I
if
want
that
to
made
hear it all.
sense.
I would something else that I'm learning, and I for years have gone back to Rudolf Dreikurs and looking. We call this a bit of a power contest or a power struggle as well, right? Between a child and a parent. And what is always helping me, and it's only through being introduced to your dignity double bind that I'm getting to the root of it, because I have already tried all the principles and tools I know, and nothing's working. And now I know what was missing. And for me, I need to ask myself, what's at stake for me, or what's my personal stake in this situation, and what comes up. And I think that's really good for parents also to hear, is that when we're learning these new things, it brings up a lot of how we were parented. And for me, I don't know if anyone else is observing this, parenting sons, you know, there's a lot of the message that how lazy boys are. So that comes up in my subconscious, you know, about how lazy is my child. And I recognize that from being called lazy myself as a young child. So I need to work through all that stuff that is coming up there with this being labeled lazy. And now I'm raising a lazy child myself, you know, and that's why I love Dreikurs when he shared that a lot of it is kind of in the unconscious, or I think the Adlerians have a better way of saying that it's kind of hidden. But then when we see what it is, we're able to redirect the behavior. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. So several things in what you just said, Annette. One of Dreiker's quotes is, when we don't know what to do with someone, we call them a name.
I hadn't heard this before. That's good.
And all behavior has purpose. This is a Adlerian principle. We might not be aware of the purpose, but there's always a purpose, and it has to do with belonging and significance. So our mistake and goal chart is a way of looking at the dynamics, the context, the relationship in terms of belonging. So when we feel annoyed, irritated, the message is, notice me, involve me usefully. It's a compensation for feeling ignored or left out. And so I belong only when you're paying attention to me, which is not socially useful, right? All the mistaken goals are socially useless behaviors, and it's the best solution. It's not just kids, but I'll say kids. The child has in that moment for feeling belonging, but it's a false sense of belonging. It's not true belonging. It's a compensation. Another Adlerian principle. If I'm feeling defeated, challenged, it's a compensation for feeling powerless. And so we have misguided power. And the message is, let me help, give me choices, because that's empowering. but in this moment, I don't feel empowered. And I'm going to let you know that I have power. Okay. If we're feeling hurt or disappointed, the message is, I'm hurting, validate my feelings, which has to do with dignity. And so I'm going to make you feel as badly as I feel. That's the best solution I have in this moment. And the belonging is I don't belong, and that hurts.
Really hurts.
Yeah.
Really.
And so and we have strategies and tools to address these things. With that, and again, it's always about the connection before correction. And then if I feel, I'm trying to do this from memory now, forgive me. If a child is, if we feel helpless, sense of futility, there we go. And we can feel helpless in a sense of futility because we don't know what to do with mistaken goals of attention, undue attention, and misguided power. But it's not about us in that moment, it's about the child. But it invites us to feel helpless, like, oh, I just want to give up. Because the child has also given up. And that hidden message is, show me a small step. Don't give up on me, because this is about the significance. I want to feel capable, and I don't, but I don't want you to see that. So I'm going to do things to avoid you finding out how inadequate I believe I am. So this is assumed inadequacy. And the message is, I can't belong. I can't belong because I don't have what it takes. And so these all come from discouragement. They're compensations in specific ways for what's missing. So feeling disconnected, disrespected, disempowered. And so that comes from discouragement. There's another goal, just to, if you don't mind me adding to this.
Please share.
There's another goal that some of us Adlerians have added. It's not in Jane Nelson's mistaken goal chart, but it's the goal of special service. It's in there, but it's not itself a specific goal. And it's about entitlement. And so while the mistaken goals, the 4, come from feeling in that one down position, a mistaken goal of special service comes from entitlement, of being in a one up position, and I want to stay there. So, and your job is to make me happy and do for me, otherwise I will make life miserable for you. And it creates tyranny, actually. And giving up.
Parents observe that. They observe it, and Dreikurs wrote it in his book over 60 years ago, that entitlement makes the child almost feel like a tyrant and the parent the slave. And no wonder parents are so exhausted and overwhelmed, because they end up doing it when the child won't contribute, right? It's
right. And it's hard. And we have to take ourselves out of that one down position. And really, this is where firmness is needed on our part, not meanness, firmness. So, okay, well, I just want to just make a comment or two about rewards, because that was something. So, moving away from doing for or doing to, but doing together with. And we've kind of moved away from punishment because of the discouragement that arises. With rewards, people find rewards work, and they do. Punishment works too, not as well these days, and when we have to look at what does work mean, and work effectiveness is it helping our kids develop those life skills and characteristics on our to list. So with rewards, kids, everybody's happy. I want you to do this chore, and I offer you this in exchange,
Mm.
and it's a transaction. The child does the chore, gets the reward, everybody's happy.
Mm.
And we have to ask, are they learning the life skills and characteristics? And would they do that chore if the reward weren't in place? So, so here's what I want to share. That kids think about rewards differently than we think they think about them. We think, oh, we want our child to do this, I'll give them that.
Mhm.
And there we go. Everybody's happy. They think, if you give me what I want, I will reward you with what you want.
Okay, say that one more time. That's new to me now.
Yeah, because
So if
we don't, this is how kids think, because it's a transaction.
yes,
And they're not dumb. They want what
no,
they want.
yeah,
That's something being offered to them.
yeah,
And so they think, because when we do the activity, Mr. Punishment,
yes.
that comes out, right? When we do the reward part, kids think, we think that we're rewarding them.
Mhm.
They think, if you give me what I want, excuse me, I will reward you. I will reward you with what you want. So that's why they are in the power position.
Ah, now that makes sense. Okay. So we're literally becoming the subservient or some kind of servant
We
when
give up our
we work
power.
with, and I feel this all the time. We literally give our power away and then we feel powerless as parents, of course.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is fascinating stuff. That makes so much sense. Thank you. It's so clear.
You're welcome.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's
So,
very manipulative as well, isn't it?
well, it is, and that's part of the transaction,
Mm.
and we're willing to engage in it. And we fall into that trap because we want our kids to be happy and
Yeah,
we want things to get done.
yeah,
And we have to look at, how does this help them in society? If they think, I'll only do something if I get something in exchange, where does empathy come from? It fit in with that. Where does contribution fit in with that? Where, there's so many of those positive qualities and life characteristics,
and
and
how
skills.
what sometimes is an observation, I don't know if you've seen this, you must have, you're in this for so long, when parents come to that conclusion that it starts at birth and infancy, that we teach these life skills and characteristics, because sometimes we think, no, not that we think, that I've heard this from parents, that well, the child has a whole life to learn these life skills, my job is just to get them to 18, but what we do is so important from early on, and we
Mm-hmm.
can teach these things, right?
Mm-hmm. Our job is to do ourselves out of a job.
I love that. I'm going to look up that activity. Our job is to do ourselves out of a job. Yeah.
I don't think it's anywhere. I can can
All
share it with
right. Okay. I'd love
you. Yeah,
to.
that's our job. It's never ending,
Mm.
but our job is, and I like to use the life skills and characteristics
Mhm.
side as a compass, and to look at everything we do and say measured against that. Is it helping them develop empathy? Is it helping them develop responsibility? All the things that are typically on our list.
I love that. Even that analogy or the visual of a compass. I now get it what you mean by that. A compass is like the direction, and the life skills we want for our children are
Mhm.
always in whatever we do now, to ask ourselves, is this raising an empathetic future adult, right? And to always ask that question, yeah.
Because tying this back to Adlerian theory,
Mhm.
if we have belonging and significance, and those life skills and characteristics are developed
Mhm.
as part of significance, we have social interest, because the compass for me is contribution. If we have those life skills and characteristics, we are better equipped to contribute. And this is the foundation of Adlerian psychology. Gemeinschaftsgefühl is feeling belonging and contributing because we do. So, so that is the big compass, is contribution, and having those life skills and characteristics facilitates contribution.
I would like to end it here. This has been shifting so much inside me. Is there, what do you think needs to be added to round this up or to close it from your end?
Nothing. I feel like ending with that that principle, that this is his theory as social beings. This is true. I guess I'm going to add one more thing. In animal research, animals cooperate for survival, and we are animals that need to cooperate for survival as well. So having sense of belonging, having the skills that significance builds, that facilitates contribution and cooperation.
Or I just see this in a whole such a fresh eye now. It's like how it's not, I need my child to, where's the bag? I need the child to empty that bag, but it's if I see it through a lens, that's that for me, becoming unconcerned or detached or let go. I can't just do that like that. I need to, it's a process for me. I eventually get there with every parenting challenge. But it takes time for me. And I'm just seeing now how to not come from, okay, I need to counteract my child being labeled as lazy everywhere because I'm not doing what I should be doing, but it's how can I, as a mother, invite that contribution and feeling him, or any child to feel capable and I just want to share this as well. I've also got a 14-year-old daughter, just turned 14. And she was in the house alone here all day. So it's your morning, our evening. And she was hoping I wouldn't come back as early as I did. So she was a bit surprised. And she said that doing what she needs to do. So she's currently studying for year-end exams for her school, and she has a few jobs that she's doing as well. We call it family service. And she says, when nobody's around and telling me that I need to do these, back to our asking versus telling and how that feels, when nobody tells me, I just plan it into my day and it just gets done. Isn't that so just practical from a 14-year-old teenager,
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And I love your term family service.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna use that.
A parent came up with that in one of the parenting courses, so I
Oh, I learned so much
adopted
from
that.
parents too.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I love that term, because that's what it is. It takes all of us to make the household, the family work, and it is family service. I love that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think I wanted to share. Yeah, so what you're talking about is making the horse thirsty.
That's it. That's it. I love that. I'm gonna get the water out of these wet clothes in the bag. I'm gonna make the put the water where it needs to go, into the thirsty horse. I love that analogy. Relocate the water. So, the parent who's watching this, we'd love to hear maybe all their examples of, the swimming bags or the lunch boxes that don't get emptied, and I'd love to hear all the examples that the parents have. Maybe there could be a follow-up conversation where we go more into detail, more of a suggesting solutions for parents. This was maybe more theoretical and what's behind why we do what we do. So if the parent watching this, if they would like to work with you, do you do online work, or are you just in person in the area you live in? Do you still run parenting workshops?
I do in my school,
Ah,
for my school. And if anyone is interested in doing any parent coaching, they can reach out to me. I'm happy to do that. Thank you. And y- yeah,
and
I appreciate that.
and would you also train classroom educators to do you?
Yeah. So I think you're asking about workshops, the
Yeah, yeah,
certification workshops.
that's it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I do them typically in the summer
Mhm.
because I although I'm open,
Full-time job. Yeah,
I probably would. I do have a full-time
yeah,
job,
yeah, yeah,
weekdays, and I'm off for 2 months in the summer. So I try to do those public workshops because I do trainings all the time for our staff.
yeah.
Uh, Thank you. Yeah, I mean, people can reach out to me. It probably would be online for people in
In
your
Europe.
continent.
Yeah, great. I'm going to put all your details below, maybe your email address. We can do that
Yeah,
after of
and
what you
and
would
just
like to tell.
sure, and just check the Positive Discipline Association website because that's where all the workshops are listed for anywhere. And because we do so many online now, people can join from anywhere. They just have to see, the time zone and if that's going to work for them. So that would be the best place to see if I'm going to be offering something as opposed to reaching out to me
Yeah, that
directly.
makes
But
sense.
but parent coaching would be different. So people can reach out to me directly about that.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you so much
Yeah.
for coming and
Oh, thank you so much, Annette, and thank you, parents,
yeah.
for taking the time
Mhm.
and putting in the effort to benefit your children. This is um, the best job in the world and the hardest job in the world.
Absolutely. Thank
And
you.
thank you again, Annette, for inviting me to join your parent community here.